I can confirm that there's been a barbaric terrorist attack, what looks like a series of attacks in Kabul on the airport, on the crowds at the airport, in which members of the US military, very sadly, have lost their lives, and many Afghan casualties as well. And we extend our condolences both to the United States of America and to the people of Afghanistan. And I want to stress that this threat of a terrorist attack is one of the constraints that we've been operating under in Operation Pitting, in the big extraction that's been going on. And we've been ready for it, we've been prepared for it. And I want to stress that we're going to continue with that operation, and we're now coming towards the end of it, to the very end of it, in any event. And we've already extracted the overwhelming majority of those under both the schemes, the eligible persons, the UK persons, UK nationals, plus the Afghans, the interpreters, and others. And it's been a totally phenomenal effort by the UK. There's been nothing like it for decades and decades. But clearly, what this attack shows is the importance of continuing that work in as fast and as efficient a manner as possible in the hours that remain to us, and that's what we're going to do.
Prime Minister, has today's attack made any difference at all to the timeline for the evacuation? Ben Wallace said yesterday that there were still 1,500 Afghan resettlement eligibles, people who are eligible for that scheme, waiting to come out. How will progress feel for them on the ground?
Well, I've just chaired a COBRA, and the conclusion is that we're able to continue with the programme in the way that we've been running it, according to the timetable that we've got, and that's what we're going to do, because the overwhelming majority of those who are eligible have now been extracted from Afghanistan, and we'll work flat out. The military, the Foreign Office teams, the Home Office, the Border Force teams are there, getting people through as fast as they can still, and we're going to keep going up until the last moment. But I want to repeat what I've been saying over the last few days, that we also fully expect that those who want to leave Afghanistan after this phase one, if you like, are allowed to do that by the Taliban, and we will use all the influence that we can bring to bear, whether political or economic, diplomatic, as we said at the G7, to encourage the new authorities in Afghanistan to do that.
By creating this evacuation, you encouraged hundreds, thousands of Afghans to be on the perimeter of the airport, almost sitting ducks, it feels like. Aren't you worried that we could be in a situation where there's a second attack and that more people could lose their lives?
This is something, Sam, that we prepared for a very long time, and going to see the command headquarters at this morning, you really understood that the military our military, the UK military, have been preparing for this evacuation for months and months, and what we're now coming to is the final phases, the final stages of that evacuation. We always knew that this was a moment where, of course, there were going to be particular vulnerabilities to terrorism, to opportunistic terrorist attacks. We condemn them. I think they're despicable. But I'm afraid that there's something that we've had to prepare for. It isn't going to interrupt our progress. We're going to get on with this evacuation. And I just remind you, since August the 14th, this country has evacuated from Afghanistan. The UK military has evacuated the equivalent of a town the size of I don't know, is it Dorking or Petersfield, a largish UK town, and that is a phenomenal achievement. Now, what we've got to do, we're going to make sure, is that we continue to vet the people who are coming through, check them, and ensure that they're able to contribute to UK society when they come. And I'm sure they will be able to do that.
Finally, What did you make of the Taliban's statement condemning the attacks, and what is your intelligence of who was behind them?
I don't want to comment on intelligence matters, but I think what it possibly one thing we could say is this: that there were almost certainly members of the Taliban who were themselves killed in this attack, and perhaps what it proves is the difficulty that any government is going to have in running Afghanistan, and the threats that any government is going to continue to face. And what we want to do right now is to get on with this, finish off this process of evacuation, but then move into the second phase, where clearly we want to work with other partner countries in the G7 and others, in NATO and others, to engage with the Taliban, to try to get a political process going that gives a more inclusive future, an inclusive and representative government for Afghanistan, and one that commands the loyalty and support of the people of Afghanistan, because you can see from this attack that that is not going to be easy.